Welcome to our channel. Doctors Karen and Matilda here. Our clips are for educational purposes only, and we're sharing primarily our experiences, but we also flavor it with questions asked on different online platforms in academia. I'm Karen, and I do most of the audio, and Dr. Matilda does a lot of the background work. That's where the magic happens. Today we talk about pastoral care, and before I continue, welcome to both our new and returning subscribers and viewers. We hope that our clips, you can find something useful in them. Today we want to talk about pastoral care. Both of us didn't know anything about pastoral care before we started our postgrad program. I heard about pastoral care in passing in a few academic workshops while I was lecturing, but there was not a clear definition of it in practice. Because when I heard the word pastor, I just thought it was religion. But come to think of it, in days gone by, centuries gone by, most academic institutions were run by nuns or Catholics or religious organizations, the traditional religious organizations primarily. So the word pastor means shepherd. Again, a Christian religious connotation, as far as I'm aware. And I guess in every other religion, they will have a similar concept. So pastoral came from the word pastor and its Latin origin. And really it refers to those peripheral supports that you need. We often talk about peripheral skills that you need to ensure you're perfect in academia or you can practice academia well. There's no perfection. Uh, so similarly, pastoral care is the support, peripheral support, emotional, financial, and spiritual and physical well-being of a student determines how well they'll focus in pursuing the postgrad program, which is a very isolated and one that you have to be a self-starter basically within. What would it look like today? We talk about what it looked like in the past, religious connotation, institutions run by the religious communities. Today, it's mental health support, access to counselors, peer support, a body system. Uh, and the body system is where, if you live in a country where you have late classes, it's always a good practice to join the body system program where you know your class ends at 9 p.m. But there are volunteers at the university, particularly in North America, where there are dark subway hallways, very long escalators down into the bowels of the earth, where you need someone to walk you to the subway station or to your platform so you can safely return to your place of residence off campus. So that's one practice of the body system I'm aware of. Early intervention programs. And some examples of this, again in North America, where the university took it upon themselves to sensitize students of scammers, religious scammers, academic scammers, even financial scammers. There was once a lady tried to con me into participating in a financial fraud, and I was able to stem it, but I almost fell into the trap. But because the university had sensitized us beforehand, I was able to spot it very quickly and wriggle myself out of it. Clubs and organizations, such as religious clubs, uh, language clubs, dance clubs, and some organizations that work on campus. I was with one called Women's Health in Women's Hands, where they work with my department. And so students from the department went across, the women students, and they got a lot of pastoral care outside of what the department, or more in depth than the university was offering at the time. Student success centers. Again, I experienced this in two ways, where I was a peer support personnel for a person with intellectual disability within the disability support network within the Student Success Center, and where I was able to get some writing support. I received a scribe and time and a half extension on my exam, and most beautifully, I had my own invigilator and boot to do my exams. So all those are practicing forms of pastoral care uh, today. Uh, I have some examples here. I talk about the one in Canada. Then in Spain, I had a scribe because I'd injured my shoulder during the pandemic, or just before the pandemic, rather. And in Japan, they had a whole support network around me while I was there studying. These were the countries I spent the longest time in studying. Uh, I compare the features here for the different services they offer. Some overlap, some are different. Uh, in my experience, and this clip is really my experience with pastoral care, uh, the best funding systems, all three had good funding systems, but to me, Japan won with the funding system. In Canada, I went with my own funding, but Canada had a beautiful parallel system to the regular system. They had a regular system and benefits to Canadians and Canadian citizens, and the university mirrored that for the international students. So that was in second place. But in Spain, I had sort of an artificial experience because my funding came from European Union mainly, the Marti Career uh, Scholarship Fund. And so I had coverage that the regular student didn't, and I also was attached to a project. And the EU had a disability support fund that my department could apply for anything I need outside of academic. So my reality would be different from others because I will have some special circumstances attached to mine. However, in general, these services are available to every student, and mostly developed countries practice equity uh, support, and equity support is different from equality because equity gives you what you need, not equality will give you the same service applies to everybody, and you can claim it or not claim it, whether it suits you or not. So that's the difference, and maybe I'll do a clip on that later. So this series is called What I Wish I Knew Before I Started My Studies, and today we looked briefly at pastoral care. I'll show some examples later in the next clip, uh, but in this clip we will stop here. Thanks again for dropping by. In our next clip, we'll be answering another question, so remember to include yours in the comment section. But for those who don't want to put theirs in the comment section, you can email us. Uh, the, our growing playlist is linked in the description. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. And from the desk of Doctors Karen and Matilda, remember to make it a great week. Bye.